Your knees don't hurt. Your knees are possessed by demons. And these sleeves...
Keep the demons in.
No, they're taking them out. Why would they keep the demons in?
You gotta keep the demons in your knees. You gotta keep them contained.
Oh, jeez. All right, you ready?
Ready.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the CrossFit Bangor podcast. This is episode 6. I'm sitting with Tiffany today. How are you, Tiffany?
I'm great.
That's it?
That's it.
I'm great.
I'm great.
Great. Awesome.
How are you, Zach?
No one ever asks me.
Oh, I want to know.
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Oh,
I could
just
use
all
I could
right?
use a hug, but like as always. But
After.
yeah. Anyway, so today we're gonna talk about a lot of different stuff.
Yep.
First, we're gonna kind of tackle gear. We want to talk a little bit about shoes, knee sleeves, the fun stuff that we all like to get all of, like
Yep.
third day into CrossFit, and we
Yes.
have every equipment
things.
possible:
Yep.
helmets, knee pads.
The mouth guards,
Mouth-
CrossFit mouth guards.
CrossFit
It's a
mouth
thing.
guard, that will become a thing.
It is a thing.
Earplugs,
Oh,
all of
yeah.
it.
Actually,
All right,
might
so
wear some earplugs.
go ahead and kind of talk about that a little
Dive
bit.
into it.
Yeah.
So we have this varied sport. So we are running, we're rowing, we're working with the barbell, we're doing gymnastics. So it's uncommon in most sports. I would say it's common in most sports that you have like your uniform. You have the things that are required to wear. And if it's like a field sport, your cleats and your potentially some sort of protection like knee pads, helmets, things of that nature. Oh, you got to turn me up?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Keep talking. Okay, I'm going to have to edit that out. So, gymnastics, things that are typical of gymnastics, we'd see, tight fitting clothing, running, again, some sort of uniform. So we don't actually have that in CrossFit unless you get to the games and Reebok says, please wear these items. So every day in the gym, we've got to find something that allows us to move comfortably and feel confident, that we don't have to worry about, but then also be able to perform all these different tasks. We've got to go from, instance today, we're running, we're on the assault bike, we're working with the barbell, doing burpees. So we've got all these different modalities. What are we going to need for gear? Do we need different types of shoes within the same workout? Well, hopefully not, because that's going to reduce our time. Do we potentially have an injury when I might need something to help support a knee joint that's not all that strong, or maybe we've got a little twinge. We're coming back for some sort of recovery. Do we need a helmet? Hopefully, we're not going to drop any barbells.
Sometimes
on
during
our head.
snatches we might need a little
Right,
bit of a helmet.
when you Harry Potter yourself, get it right in the forehead. You'll
Yeah.
do it once, and then you'll hopefully never do it again. But what's actually appropriate for us? Why do we need it? Are we wearing it because it's useful? Are we wearing it because it's the style of CrossFit? I remember when knee-high socks were a really big thing.
Oh yeah, five finger toed.
Five-finger,
Not fingers, five toes.
five.
Vibram.
Vibrams.
Fingers.
We'll go with Vibrams. But they were the finger shoes.
The finger
yeah,
shoes.
the finger shoes, like where you slipped your toes into each of these little individual pockets. So what's appropriate for us?
Yeah.
So we've, I'm sure you have. We've tried a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've had multiple different pairs of marketed CrossFit shoes. I own knee sleeves. I own a weight belt. I own grips. When do we use it? Why do we use it? How do we use it? So I think that's a good jumping off point for us today. And depending on what the workout is. So
Yeah.
let's start there.
Let's start with shoes.
Let's start with shoes.
So you're kind of.
So what have I got on today?
The
What?
pinks.
I've got
Pink
on
Nikes.
pink Nike Metcons, which are relatively comfortable. I need
And
to
squeaky sometimes.
and sometimes squeaky. But I need to be able to, at any given point, potentially run, go between movements. So I've got to have something that's comfortable on, but still be able to perform a barbell movement. Are you okay?
Keep going.
We're going. So typically in CrossFit, we are looking for something that has a little bit more of what they consider a zero drop, which means that the cushion on the heel is not too high. And it's not higher than the toe. That's typical of a running shoe. And we're looking for that because we want you to be, we're always saying, stay in your heels. Well, it's going to be really difficult if your heel is actually higher than the toe. So CrossFit's come up with kind of a crossbred shoe of you can do everything in this. The heel drop is not so high that you can't weight lift in it, but then you can still go out and run. So I don't know what you've tried. I've tried Nike Metcons. I've tried Reeboks. I've tried Nanos. I've tried New Balance.
The Innovates. That was
The
like
Innovates.
those are like our originals.
Yeah, I
had the
think I wore
blues.
those that day. You were like, what are those?
Yeah.
So got to find what works best for you.
So why wouldn't like a running shoe, like you see a lot of times, like when people start on ramp, they have those running,
Yep.
like a normal running shoe. Why wouldn't that maybe be so good for something like squats or lifting or anything like that?
Puts you really far forward on your toes. We're always indicating, we're always cueing you to go butt back and be seated a little bit more on your heels. That shoe is a little bit too high for what we're looking for in
Yeah.
a squat. Great for running.
It's a little squishy, yeah.
It is, and it's a little bit soft. You have a hard time connecting with the floor, I feel like, in a really high running shoe.
Yeah. And then we got the good old fashioned weightlifting shoe
Yep.
too. So
Super
so even more specific to what we're doing.
To sport specific. Yep. So weightlifting shoes, man, those are for weightlifting.
What?
You cannot go
I've
out
been
for a
using
run
them
in
wrong.
those.
Damn it.
Please do not go out for a run in your weightlifting shoes. Much more of a stiff footbed. That does have a higher heel, allows for more ankle flexibility, but because the shoe's a little bit stiffer,
Yep.
we're better off squatting with those Olympic lifting, so clean and jerk, snatch, potentially going overhead really heavy. That's what we're looking for in that more specific shoe.
And they look friggin' awesome.
Yes, they do. Look awesome.
Like, so Nike, I think all the Nike, Adidas, and Reebok make some pretty good ones.
Yes.
They're a little expensive. Do we need them? That's a big question.
Not right away.
Yeah.
That's the
I like
biggest
that
thing.
answer.
And really not right away. Get in here and start figuring out what feels comfortable for you. Do not go out and buy all sorts of special gear just to start. Like that can be super overwhelming. You might be stuck with something you really don't like, but get into the sport a little bit and figure out what's going to work better for you. Ask people that have tried things. What do they like? What works well for them? Wait for sales.
Yeah. Reebok does a ton of sales.
Reebok does a ton of
They do.
sales. So, I would say CrossFit, weightlifting shoes right away, not totally necessary. Getting a shoe you feel really comfortable in that you can do everything in. You can go from outside to on the assault bike and then perform a clean and then maybe drop down to a burpee. So something you can use across the board. Doesn't
Yeah.
have to be so specific.
Oh, I like it. So going upstream, let's
Or
we're
up the
looking-
leg, we can go
up the-
G'd up from the feet up.
Yeah,
we'll
the
call it.
knees.
We'll go to the
So,
knees.
knee sleeves.
Yep.
Use those. We
I
both do.
Yep.
How often do you use yours, and then what does it do for you?
I'm very lucky, knock on wood. I don't have any knee problems. I bought them a long time ago to help with squatting because I was squatting heavy, and I felt like it just gave me a little extra support when I was growing super, super heavy. If I was going to do a workout with a lot of wall balls, a lot of squatting or thrusters or potentially air squats, I felt like it allowed my kneecap to track pretty correctly, kept my knees comfortable. Gave me a little bit of rebound at the bottom of the air squat. I felt supported overall. They looked
Nice.
pretty cool. I got some nice colors.
Yeah.
No, just
and they
kidding.
smell so good.
They smell awesome.
Knee sleeves
Put
smell
them wet
amazing.
in your gym bag after you're done using them. Always.
Yeah, and I think the best thing to do is to leave the gym bag open and put it in your back seat on like in the
Yep.
middle of like July.
Yeah.
When it's really hot,
And then drop
forget
it in
about
Zach's
it.
office when you come in.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks very much. Yeah, I get enough freaking traffic in my office. I don't need more people over there. All right. Yeah. So
Keep
I'll
going.
kind of catch up real quick just to talk about what I use.
Yeah.
I try to do as much as I can in my Metcons. So those are the Nikes. I like to be able to know that if there's like a running workout with wall balls or a running workout with like snatches that I could lift in them.
Yep.
That being said, when it comes to heavy squats like we did on Monday.
Yesterday,
Yep. I do like to throw on the weightlifting shoes. I just feel a little bit more comfortable in them. As for knee sleeves, I find that I've migrated away from them a little bit. Not to say that they're not awesome, but I found that I was using them as like a cover for my lack of mobility
Yeah.
and my lack of taking care of myself. So I have a little bit of a thicker knee sleeve. You can get, I think, like 3, 5, or 7.
Oh yeah. I mean,
There's
you
some,
can go
there's
full
some
on.
hefty
Yeah,
duty
it's
ones.
like wearing
I
a
have
wetsuit.
I think I have like the I have like the mid range. I think they're 5s, so they're a little thicker
The
than the normal
Ray-Ban, yeah.
3s. Yeah. And so they're not the most comfortable thing on the planet to like work
Yeah.
out in. So
Because they bunch up behind your knees.
yeah, well,
Yep.
that and they're just so tight. They're
Yep.
super thick. So I'll wear them for heavy clean and jerks, and if my knees are feeling a little yucky. But then again, if they are feeling yucky, why? And I'll try
Yeah.
to fix that instead of just cover them with a Band-Aid. But
So that's a good thing you bring up because I think we immediately sometimes in our head, even as an athlete, I want to have a hang up. I want to fix it. Well, we got to figure out why that's happening. So if you're wearing knee sleeves because your knees hurt, let's take a look at your squat.
Yeah.
Before we really put any more gear on. But there's certainly, it's there for a reason. It's got its place. try it without it every once in a while. If you don't test the waters, if you've been doing a ton of mobility, working on your knees, and then we tried to squat without the knee sleeves, do you still have those same aches and pains, or potentially did something work itself out because of all the mobility work you had done?
Awesome. So we'll go up a little further. We got the belt.
Oh boy.
Oh, we got the belt. We see this used a lot, and I think it's a great tool, and I think it's a good safety tool, especially when you're lifting super heavy. But maybe talk about a little bit why you think it might be something you want to leave at home or just not buy it at all for at least like the first, what do you think, a year?
Probably a year.
Yeah. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
They're very widely available, which I think is probably one of the first items people tend to go for. The knee sleeves tend to be on the pricier side. Belts are very widely available. We've seen them in powerlifting gyms, global gyms for a very long time. This is not a new piece of equipment to us. So I think people typically go to a belt if they have lower back pain, and they're having lower back pain when they're lifting. They cinch up the belt really, really tight, and they just go to town on it. Well, you and I and Mel and all the coaches have preached in class, you walk around with your own weight belt all the time. Your core, your abdominal muscles and lower back support your mid body. And if you're engaging them properly, we shouldn't be experiencing a lot of back pain. We should feel a nice foundation, a lot of strength in our core when we're lifting. So if we're masking that pain by cinching up a belt, we've really, again, got to strip away some of the gear, maybe do some mobility, and maybe look into how we're actually lifting, how we're moving, and see if we can't find something that's got a little bit of a hang up. Let's address that issue before we go to a belt. I feel like it has its place. I lift with it when I'm lifting, again, heavy squats, or if I'm going overhead and it's really heavy, I need that little extra support. I tend not to do a lot of Olympic lifts in it. I feel like it gets in the way. I get a little distracted by it. But that being said, many people have great success lifting with a belt. I just don't feel all that comfortable with it. But I feel like it's some extra support, something that's there when I'm doing heavy squats.
Yep.
So haven't always used it. Sometimes I like to not use it just to make sure that, yes, my core is engaged. It's all still there. And I'm not leaning on anything to get better or stronger. Like I've really truly got the strength there. The belt is there to support me.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of people in other realms like this, the powerlifting world, the weightlifting world, strength and conditioning world, that will kind of put like a number on it, like a squat number. Like if you're a woman, you should squat this, or men, you should be able to squat this before you have a belt. I think you can kind of do away with that and talk specifically. I think a good year. Would be nice. To squat, deadlift, do all that stuff without it, and then go from there.
And then see how you feel.
And I think it is necessary eventually for safety. But I think it goes along the same lines with those knee sleeves, that as long as you're not using it as a crutch to kind of Band-Aid over something else, I think it's great.
Yeah, and it certainly has its place. Not to say that if you are experiencing pain that something is fundamentally wrong with the way you're moving and you're masking it, but it's certainly something we may explore.
Yeah.
Before we have you cinch up.
Cinch it up. Belt up. So,
grips.
Grips.
Are you going up?
Oh, I love those.
Well, actually, I'll let you lead on that because I've got hands of steel.
What, you saying I have baby hands?
I've got these beautiful calluses that are all built up. I don't rip too much. However, my volume of what I'm able to achieve for gymnastics movements, like ring muscle ups or pull ups or toes to bar, I can't do as big a sets. So that could be why the friction's less, and I don't tend to rip. However,
nice try. I see what you're doing.
if you are doing bigger sets, or maybe your grip strength isn't as good, the potential for ripping keeps you out of the game. That stinks. I don't know if anyone that's listening has ever ripped their hands. It really, really hurts. It takes a long time to heal. You want to get back into the game really quick, so you grab a barbell again and you've ripped again. Yeah. So not fun. Right. Can't work out.
For sure.
So I know you use some grips. You've got some that you like.
I use them constantly. That is the one piece of equipment that I never shy away from. Especially if I'm doing anything on the pull-up bar, or even things like maybe like high volume or heavy deadlifts, I'll throw those on too. I've used a lot of different kinds. The Bear Complex ones seem to be the nicest on my hands in terms of like they don't have that.
Nice. They're so soft.
they're the most comfortable, especially on the wrists. I know if a lot of people have tried those, like other gymnastics grips that have that horrible like plastic piece that digs in.
Yep.
And for me, being a massage therapist, plus everyone knows skin's not the greatest on the planet, especially on the back of my hands. They're a little fragile, so not tearing is super important.
Yep.
Especially for what I do and just for training in general. Tearing is horrible.
Oh,
so.
it's awful.
I think the biggest thing with the grips, especially if you're using the leather ones, is learning how to actually use them properly. So if you have a pair, talking to you guys out there, if you have a pair, you haven't tried it yet, or if you have one, didn't like it, don't give them away. Bring them to us, and we'll show you how to use them. If you use them properly, one, they need to be broken in and kind of seasoned, if you will, like an old skillet. You need to kind of season it, or a new skillet, not an old one. You got to get the chalk in there. Don't go crazy, but you got to get some chalk in there, and they need to kind of break in a little bit. I mean, it is leather, so they're a little stiff at first. They almost feel like a little bit more uncomfortable. They get better. I promise.
It's like a baseball glove.
Yeah, like a baseball glove. What else? Is there anything else?
I would say the other thing people always ask about is jump ropes.
Yeah.
So I have one I like. I bought it from Rogue. It was around $20.
Mm-hmm. I had one of those too for
right.
the longest time.
Yeah.
That was like the first one I
It
ever
was
had.
like the sixth rope I had tried. I tried RX. I tried again faster, and none of them worked. Unfortunately, every time you try a rope, you have to purchase it. We do have several.
Yeah, that is.
You're like,
that's
now I'm
facts.
stuck with this one. So do have several here in the gym that people can try to see what kind of rope that they like. The nice thing about having your own jump rope is it's sized perfectly for you. You know exactly where it needs to be. It's set up for your height rather than like a height range. Which is kind of nice. So I would say, if anything, if you're gonna purchase your first CrossFit item, maybe a jump rope. That way you can practice.
That and
it.
shoes. I think
And
those
shoes.
two. Not the way the shoes, just the normal like Reeboks are. Like they don't. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Reebok always has some crazy deals. Even Nike too. You can find some older Nike Metcons for not that much.
Nope.
I use the RPM rope. We sell those actually here. We actually just sold out yesterday, so we should be getting in some more soon. Those are fantastic.
Yep.
That being said, I think learning on a rope, the ropes we have here are good to learn on for the first like 3 months, and then get your own and then start practicing there. The ones we have here are a little thicker, which isn't necessarily so great, going forward. But to learn how to do double unders, the resistance of the heavier rope seems to do a little bit better for people. So
helps
that's
slow the turn down, helps slow the jump down a little bit,
Yeah.
and then
it's actually good too for those that have been using a regular, like a thinner rope for a long time to go to those.
We
can
did a
really
workout like
work
that.
out. Yeah.
We did, and that was a lot harder. I couldn't jump as fast.
Yeah.
I had to really slow it down. I had to turn a little harder.
Right. So it's good at first, and then you kind of want to go do those speed ropes a little bit later.
But
awesome.
We love the questions. Come in and ask the coaches too.
Yeah.
Chances are we've tried it. We may be able to help. We might actually have something you can try and borrow before you purchase.
Right.
I mean, I know I've got extra gear kicking around, so
Yeah.
just something that helps your experience.
Exactly.
Especially if it helps get you past an injury or helps you heal from an injury, like ripped hands, having grips, something like that. Super helpful.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I kind of want to end this topic on with in terms of equipment is we find this kind of arc. I always see that at first you start CrossFit, you get really into it, you get super excited, and you buy like everything.
Yeah.
So it's like the first like 2 years of your CrossFit or two months. You're collecting it, and you have everything, high socks and the shoes and the weightlifting shoes and I find that as you kind of get more and more along in your CrossFit journey, you use a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less. So if I could give any advice in terms of like gear, what should you get? As little as you need.
Yep.
I would recommend shoes, grips, and weight. Weight. And then what's next? You get your double under with a jump rope here.
Yep.
Get your own jump rope, double
Yep.
underwear. Get your own jump
Where
rope.
do I buy double unders?
Yeah, right? Your knees hurt? Come ask a coach. Like,
Yeah.
there might be something that we can do besides you spending $100 on knee sleeves.
Yeah.
Maybe you go to some dry needling. Maybe you get a little bit of massage therapy, or maybe you just start mobilizing a little bit more, and maybe you don't need them.
Right.
And go from there. Get your core strong, and before you buy the belts,
Yep.
maybe your wrists hurt because your elbows are tight. Before you
Yeah.
buy the wrist wraps, all that stuff.
Yeah, we forgot about wrist wraps. That's something I hear commonly. The front rack position, front squat, that's really uncomfortable, coach. I'm like, yeah. Over time, the more mobility you do, you can gain a little bit more tolerance to it. But still to this day, I would say my wrists don't always feel awesome in cleans. But you get used to it over time. You can work on your mobility. You can increase your range of motion.
Right.
But yeah, initially that position feels very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So going to wrist wraps right away, you don't develop the flexibility in your wrists that you need to in order to get that front rack position.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're getting all this stuff because it looks cool and you like it,
And you're here.
I'm totally cool with that too. If it looks cool and you're wearing wrist straps because they're your favorite color, get after it. I love it. I think it's fun. It makes, especially if this is your happy place and that makes you happy. You know,
Yeah.
all that being said, after all of that, you know, if you just want it, cool. As long as it's not compromising your ability to I think like the belt thing and the knee sleeve thing.
Yeah.
You might want to make sure that you're strong in positions without them. But I think at the end of the day, it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
They're a little fun. All right, cool. What's next on our topic list here? What you want to talk about?
Oh, our next topic. Talking about maybe routines.
Routines.
We've all got routines. You know, when you wake up in the morning, it's coffee first, and maybe let the dog out, get the kids on the bus, pack lunches. Our routines are always different. And in the world of CrossFit, we always say, be prepared for the unknown. Like, you know, typically come into a workout, we don't always know what's going to happen. We do maybe know the workout, but we don't always know the warm-up. Mm-hmm. So the coach usually does it per individual class, and we warm up what's specifically going to be happening for the actual workout. But creating a routine can be both a great thing because you can come into the gym every day, and that's part of your routine. However, if you're stretching specifically the same muscle groups and you're stretching them the same way every day, you can be really, really good at stretching that muscle that one specific way. Yeah. Right? Okay? Follow me so far?
Oh, yeah.
So if we can kind of tackle things, and that could be mobility, that could be the way you warm up, that could be how long you warm up, but try to change that frequently. If you come in and you always wear a hoodie when it's cold and you only listen to the same music and you do the same stretches, you'll be really good at doing all of those things. If we don't tackle weaknesses, if we don't change the way we stretch, we can't make any improvements. So I would say either dabble in something like Ramwad, look at what's K-Stars? Mobility WOD. There we go. It's another one.
I like that a lot.
Pick one thing a day where you try something different and just kind of roll it into your routine a little bit. Warming up is always a great idea. I wouldn't say if that's part of your routine, get rid of it. Okay, don't come in.
Stop warming up.
Yeah, don't stop warming up, but
put
change
on running
it.
shoes.
Right.
And
use your weightlifting shoes on the rower.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
do something a little different.
That does help.
It
Tiffany.
does.
It does.
It does. I will give that. But if you only ever use the rower in your warm-up, try the assault bike. You know, or if you ever use just the assault bike, we've got a skier. Or if you hate to run, try short distances first. But just try something a little different. Get out of your routine a little bit.
Yeah. Well, speaking of routine, I kind of want to talk a second about how to warm up.
Yeah.
I know that's like actually one of the first things I used to teach when I did on-ramp more frequently is how to actually warm up. So for those that are like, I don't have a routine yet.
Right. They're like, oh, we're supposed to have a routine.
It's always three things: heart rate, movement prep, mobility. That's how I kind of take if you got 5 minutes, you can do all three of those. So what's heart rate? Bike, run, row, jump rope, cartwheels. Play tag with someone. I don't know. Quidditch, yeah. Get sweaty. That's the most important. So we're kind of triaging here. The most important. Next, movement prep. What are we doing? Are we squatting? Get your knees ready. Get your ankles ready. Get your hips ready. You know, front rack position. Are we doing thrusters? Get those elbows ready. Wrists, all that stuff. And then stretch. I feel like I see a lot of people walk right in and then just lay on the turf.
Yep.
And that's
cold.
Cool. I mean, like if that works for you, cool. But I think we kind of start at the thing we need the least, and then should kind of make our way back to, hey, get sweaty first.
Yeah.
And then we'll work on the other stuff. And then always do, like, if you need to stretch, post-workout's probably going to be your best time to do that because you're already sweaty.
Yes.
So getting your heart rate and muscles ready to go beforehand, stretching them after, I think it kind of goes along the lines of what we're talking about here.
Plan your work and then work your plan.
Oh, so good.
I know.
I think we should end on that.
I think we should.
That was so awesome.
Mic drop.
Don't.
I
Those are expensive. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. See you at the gym.